All right. So again, the author, O. Henry, he was imprisoned for embezzlement. He moved to Texas. We need to know that while he was there, he started to write or take up upon the profession of writing, and he named himself O. Henry to publish his books under, and this is his pen name. And O. Henry is taken from the soldier or his prison guard that was at prison at during that time. All right, the next topic that we need to understand is irony. And we discussed that there are three types of irony. All right, irony here is situational, verbal, and dramatic. Okay, and when we discussed irony, we said that basically irony means something like sarcasm. All right, verbal irony is when the character says something that they don't mean. Okay, and what do I mean by this? All right, I'm going to share with you guys this PowerPoint that's going to discuss irony. All right, when we discussed irony, we have the three types. Again, irony is the contradiction it shows between verbal irony. Verbal is when someone says something that they don't mean. Okay, remember this. All right, we mentioned a few examples of verbal irony that were used in the story. Okay, can anyone help me recall some examples of verbal irony that were in the story? Any
When
volunteers?
yes, this is when Jimmy Valentine says to the warden that he's never been in Springfield in his entire life.
Good job, Yahmed. Perfect. Okay, so some of our verbal irony examples is when we mentioned in the textbook. Okay, this was on page number. If you want to follow with me, on page 228, when he said, "Why I never cracked the safe in my life." Okay, this is Jimmy Valentine being very sarcastic. Okay, so remember, verbal irony appears in dialogue. Okay, it's something that the character says. All right. So if I mention to you why I never cracked the safe in my life, that is an example of verbal irony because, again, it is something that Jimmy said that he, of course, did not mean or he is being sarcastic. Another something that he said is why, Warden, I never was in Springfield in my life. Okay, so here again, he's trying to say that he has never been to Springfield, and this is, of course, we know it's not true, because again, he was the one that committed these burglary or theft crimes. Okay, so again, this here is, and then finally, another or the third example of verbal irony is when he said, I am representing the New York Amalgamated Short Snap Biscuit Cracker and Frazzled Wheat Company. All right, so here again, he's being sarcastic or he's trying to pass himself off as a profession that he isn't. Okay, so this is again three kinds of verbal or three verbal ironies that were mentioned in the story. All right, moving on to the next type of irony that makes us go to um, situational. All right, situational irony is when something happens that contradicts our expectations. Okay, we expect something to happen a certain way, but it ends up a different way. Okay, and in this story, the surprise ending or the way the story ended is an example of situational irony. As we discussed in class, Ben Price was on a mission. Ben Price is the detective. In the story, we know that he was on a mission to catch Jimmy Valentine. Okay, and we know that he was determined to do that because he did not like the fact that Jimmy Valentine was pardoned or he received clemency, and clemency here is basically to receive a shorter sentence than the one that he deserved. Okay, so here we see that. So throughout the entire story, we know that Ben Price was after Jimmy Valentine. At the end of the story, when he finally reaches Elmore to catch him, and he had the opportunity to catch him, he
To
decides to
spare him.
exactly to spare him or to let him go. All right. Here we see hello Ben. Here he tells him, "Guess you're mistaken." All right. This is the last sentence in the story. Don't believe I recognize you. Okay, I don't believe I recognize you. Your buggy's waiting for you, ain't it? So basically, he's telling him, here Ben Price is pretending not to know Jimmy Valentine, or basically, telling him that you can go on ahead, and he even calls him Mr. Spencer. He doesn't call him Jimmy. So here we can tell that he really doesn't want to even ruin the life that he has made for himself, and this honest way of living that he's now thriving in, or be successful in. Okay, so this is our example of our situational irony. All right, something that happened that we did not expect it to happen. We thought Ben Price was going to catch Jimmy Valentine, but in fact, he decides to let him go, and he calls him by his by his made-up name, or his name that he gave himself to cover for his actions. All right, the next one here is the next type of irony is going to be our not this is our dramatic irony, and here our dramatic irony is an example of, or we used it here in the sense of to show us that the reader knows more information than what the character is showing us. All right. So here in dramatic irony, we know more than the characters in the story. All right. I gave you guys the example of, imagine you're watching a scary movie and you are the audience, or you're the reader, and you know that the ghost, or whatever it is hiding in the closet, and the character in the story himself doesn't know. So here you have more information than the characters in the story. So we know more something that the character doesn't know. So this is an example of dramatic irony. And in this story, there's a bunch of dramatic ironies. There's a lot of examples of dramatic irony. Can someone here volunteer and tell me what are some dramatic ironies that are in the story? Adam, can you please do it? Adam Wilson? Can you please share with me a dramatic irony examples?
Dramatic irony, like when Ben Price was at the town, but Jimmy didn't know.
Exactly, bravo. We knew that Ben Price showed up in Elmore, and he was doing his inquiring, or his questioning about Jimmy, and he was able to find out information about him from the neighboring stores and from the locals, as Ahmed Sabir mentioned before. And uh, we know this information, but Ben Price was, he didn't know. So this is an example of dramatic irony. Okay, Ward, can you please provide us with another example for dramatic irony?
We know that Jimmy Valentine's real name is Jimmy, but the Adams family doesn't know that.
Good job. Good. Okay. This is another piece of information. We know that Jimmy Valentine, his real name is Jimmy Valentine, not Adam Spencer. All right. And this is something, I mean, sorry, not Ralph Spencer. And this is something that the Adams family didn't know. That is Mr. Adams, Annabelle, and her sister, and, all the family. Okay. They thought that, or they would think that Ralph is his real name. Okay, they didn't know, or they wouldn't know, because this is something that is left out for them. All right, another thing that's also left out for them, that including building on what Werde mentioned, is that they are oblivious to his life of crime. Okay, so they don't know that he's a criminal. They don't know about being a thief, and about his life of crime that he led before he came to Elmore. All right, and that he's basically on the run. Or he is eluding Ben Price. So this is also something that they're unaware of. All right. There's another piece here that also, when we discussed the suitcase, here when he lied to Annabelle, and when she picked up his suitcase and she thought it was very heavy, she remarked, telling him that this is such a heavy bag. All right, and he tells her it contains a lot of shoehorns. Okay, and of course we know that this bag, or his or Ben Price, Jimmy Valentine's suitcase, is not really full of shoehorns. It's actually filled with the burglary tools, and he was supposed to go to Little Rock to give them away to his friend Billy, as he stated in the letter. Okay, so again, this is another example of dramatic irony. Okay, so please be ready. to list the types of irony on your exam, on your quiz on Sunday, according to examples from the book, from the story on how irony is portrayed, okay, and for each type. That being said, all right, so here this is the three types of irony. We need to know them. We also need to know our narration, and we discussed narration here in the terms of first person point of view is when the author is, or the narrator or the voice in the story is in the story using pronouns I and we. And then we discussed that third person is discussed in two types. Third person could be limited or it could also be omniscient. Okay. And I mentioned to you that omniscient means all knowing. It means that the story here, you can tell the feelings and thoughts of more than one character in the story or all the characters in the story. Okay. And a retrieved Reformation is an example of third person omniscient. Okay. Because in this story, we can see the point, the feelings and thoughts of more than one character, and that makes it third person. Of course, the narrator is an outside voice. He's not, or she, the narrator is not a character in the story, and here we can tell that the feelings and thoughts of all the characters or more than one character is being declared or described. Okay. Any questions about narration or irony? Okay, any questions about the author, Ben Price himself? I mean, not Ben Price, O. Henry, our author. Remember, his real name is not O. Henry, okay? This is one of the very important questions that we need to know, that he is William Sidney Porter and that O. Henry is only his pen name, okay? Okay. Now I want to share with you guys our study guide questions, and before we go into vocab, very quick, or actually let's go into vocab quickly. All right, we had this worksheet posted on SMS, and you guys were supposed to do it. So I'm gonna go over the words. Saunter again means to take a casual walk. Okay, to balk means to refuse to move, or to refuse to act. Virtuous is a person who is well mannered and someone who you could describe. It's an adjective to describe someone who is well mannered or someone who does, someone who's morally and ethically good. Okay. Genially means to do something in a friendly manner. Okay, in a friendly way. Imagine, the way that you treat your classmates or the way that you treat, family members or so on. Okay, compulsory is something that is mandatory, something that you must do. It's not optional and it's not voluntary. Elusive is to describe, something that is difficult to catch. Okay, whether it's a criminal, it could be a bird, it could be anything. Okay, rehabilitate. Rehabilitate means to basically help someone get back to their normal selves again, by either therapy or by educating them. And in class, I showed you guys a picture of women being educated or taking classes in prison. All right, this is a way, a form of rehabilitation, or to rehabilitate them, all right, or basically to make them become better humans and better citizens and prepare them for life. All right, so to rehabilitate, we also had an image before that I showed you of a physical therapist or a doctor providing therapy to an older woman to help her back again, to get back to her normal self again and be able to walk without the help of a something to lean on. Okay. Eminent is again an adjective to describe someone who is respectful and famous for their achievements. Okay, examples of that I have gave you guys Dr. Yaqub and Dr. Zuwail, how famous they are worldwide for all the work that they have served to humanity, and Dr. Yaqub is still serving. All right, unperceived means, again, it means to be unseen or undetected by someone. Okay, if someone is unperceived, it means that they're hiding well, Okay, you're unable to see them, like the unperceived suitcase that was in the corner of the room that we couldn't see it because it was hidden. All right. And finally, retribution again means for its punishment. Okay, as a form of retribution, our author O. Henry was sent to jail for 3 years because he was caught stealing. Okay, for his theft. So this is a form of retribution or basically punishment. All right. So now we're going to these questions here in the vocab. Fill in the blank. Okay, so let's start. It's a story, so we're gonna have to pick the right word that goes along with the story. I'll bet your folks. I'll bet your folks are like mine, always telling you how good you've got it. If you want to stay up a few minutes late, your dad tells you how he didn't have any choice about bedtime. When he was a boy, lights out at 8 was blank. Okay, so again, you have no choice but to sleep at 8 o'clock. So the lights out at 8 was blank. What would it be?
Compulsory.
Okay, please do not shout out the answer. I would really appreciate if you would raise your hand and answer. What? Okay, Dahrub, please, what would it be?
Compulsory.
Okay, compulsory. Okay, so from now on, let's raise our hand so that we can all listen to each other. All right, so here it would be number one would be compulsory. Okay, compulsory. That means it was mandatory to sleep at such time. Okay, it was no option. All right, you had to sleep at you had to sleep up at this time. All right, because after all, he had to get up at 4 in the morning to walk 10 miles to school. All right, and he had to walk fast too. He wasn't allowed to blank. Okay, so you had to quickly walk because you had to get to school on time. So you were not allowed to do what? Word?
Saunter.
Good, okay, good. Saunter is the right word because again, remember sauntering is like casually walking. Okay, imagine yourself just taking a casual, relaxed walk. If you're in a rush to get to school on time and quickly, that means you had to do it fast enough. So that means you were not allowed to. We would say to saunter. Okay, so again, here number two would be saunter. Okay, you are not allowed to saunter. My parents always speak, okay, blank, but I am not fooled by their seeming kindness. Okay, so how if they're talking in a kind way, all right, but I'm not fooled by their kindness. So how are they speaking? Zena?
Yes, my parents always speak genuinely.
Good job, perfect. All right, so here it would be all right, but again, here he's saying that he is not fooled by their kindness or their friendliness. They mean business. At least your parents aren't world famous like my blank parents. All right, so being world famous means what? Ahmed?
Eminent.
Eminence. Bravo. Good job. All right, so here, like my eminent parents. All right. And eminent parents, Cinderella and Prince Charming. The other night, all I did was eat some of my dinner with my fingers. I wasn't trying to call attention to myself. I thought my actions would go blank. So you're not calling attention to yourself. You thought your actions were going to be what? How about Ibrahim?
Yes.
Yes, he was not, he was doing something that he didn't want his parents to see him doing. He was eating with his fingers instead of using utensils or silverware. Okay, so he thought his actions were blank. So what would it be if you want to describe your actions as no one would see them. So he thought they would go what?
Um, elusive.
Elusive is someone that's difficult to catch. Okay, so here he thought he was kind of hiding his actions that they were not be no one would see him do this. So how would he
Right.
thought?
Can I try again?
Yes.
Um, um,
Okay, I'll call on you for the other one. Okay. How about
okay.
Ahmed?
Unperceived.
Unperceived. Good. Unseen. Okay, Ibrahim. So here he thought his actions would go
Okay.
unperceived. That means no one will be able to see them. Okay, that's what here he meant. All right. But my dad caught me. I should have known that a tiny bending of the rule would be a cause for blank around here. All right.
First, can I
So
do it?
go ahead, Ibrahim. Yes.
It will be um, rehab.
Okay. Remember, he's eating with his hands. His parents don't like that. So it's gonna be a cause of what? What are they gonna do to him because he's doing this? He's breaking the rules. So when you break the rules, what do you have to face? You have to face the
There is separation.
retribution. Good job.
Restitution.
Good job. It'd be a cause of retribution or punishment. Okay, he's going to be punished for eating in such way. All right. Then he says for retribution. Sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this. All right. So we covered until retribution, and then we need to go here. Sure enough, he had a fit. He had a fit. If I didn't know enough to eat with a fork, he threatened to find a school for bad-mannered children that could blank me. So if you are not going to learn to eat with the silverware, I'm going to send you to a place that could do this to you. What are they going to do to him? They're going to do what? Abdurrahman, Subh, if you do not learn how to follow the rules, then your his father is going to send him to a place where the people could do what to him? Teach him the rules. What is it called, Ya Abdurrahman? To what? Okay, what?
Rehabilitate.
Perfect. To rehabilitate. All right, and rehabilitate here means to basically bring him
To
back.
restore it.
Exactly, to restore him to his good self. All right, to okay, when your parents were as good as gold at your age, you have to be blank too or pay the price. What do you have to be? Jannah? Do you have an answer for that?
No.
Good as gold.
Virtuous.
Virtuous. Bravo, bravo. Good job, Jannah. All right, you have to be virtuous. Good job.
Can I do the next one?
Yes, of course. All right. Um, I see this with my mother all the time. Yesterday she said, "Hop to it, Lord Lazy Bones." When I was a girl, I
Uh,
never dared.
Blake.
Good job, balk. Okay, refuse. Okay, she never dared to say no. All right. Okay, so whenever your mom told you to do something, you had to get up and do it. You couldn't. You couldn't. No one had the audacity or the boldness to balk when they had to do something. Okay. I never you refused to move when ordered. My pen, see again, refused to move. Well, my pen pal in the neighborhood, in the neighboring kingdom, has it rough too. When he was 4, he tried to escape from his mother at nap time, but he was not blank enough to get away. So he wasn't what? What does it mean to try to get
Can
away?
I answer?
Say it again.
Can I answer?
Yes, Ahmed?
I answer.
Mm-hmm.
Elusive.
He wasn't elusive enough.
Elusive.
Good. So he wasn't able to escape punishment or to run away. Okay, I hope that you guys have this page downloaded, and I hope that you had it answered and checked your answers with me. Okay, so this is your vocab revision. Remember, vocab is also going to be on the quiz on Sunday. Those 10 words that we see here is going to be also, you're going to be tested on them in the form of sentences, and you must fill in the blank. Okay, now that being said and done, we discussed irony, we discussed point of view, and the next thing on our list to discuss here is our I need you to have your to have your study guide open for revision. What work does Jimmy do in prison? Remember, the story starts off in prison and then he moves to Elmore later. Okay, so there's a few settings that we see in the story. What is the job or what work did he do in prison? Okay,
Let's
Adam.
repeat
Okay, Ibrahim, go ahead.
that he was making shoes.
Good job. He was stitching shoes or stitching uppers, or he was working in the shoes. Okay, he had his profession was in the shoes mending. Okay, mending shoes or fixing shoes. All right. How does it help him later on in the story? Can someone tell us? How does that help him later on in the story?
Miss, can I answer?
Yes, please, baby.
He will open a shoe business.
Good. It helped him later on in the story because this is the same profession or the same business that he decides to open in Elmore, and he becomes very successful in it. Okay, good job, Ganna. All right. What does the warden say about Jimmy's character? Okay, the warden describes Jimmy as what? What does he say about him? All right. Or also we can also remember the advice that the warden gave him in prison before he leaves. Ahmed, what does he describe him? Or how does the warden describe Jimmy?
As an honest man.
Does he describe him as an honest man? On page 228, he calls him what? What?
The warden says to Jimmy that he is a good fellow in the heart.
Good job, Ward. Okay, this is exactly what he says. He calls him, you're a good fellow at heart. You're not a bad fellow at heart. Sorry. So basically, you're a good fellow at heart. That means he has a good heart. Okay, so the warden here could read into Jimmy Valentine's personality that he has a good heart and that he's actually a person that could be a good citizen. And he gives him the advice of to stop cracking safes and to start living a straight life. Okay, and fellow we said means a man. Okay, that he's a good man, a good man at heart. When Jimmy goes to the hotel and changes, what does his new appearance tell you about his character? Remember when he left from jail, they gave him what are some things that they gave him? Who could remind me? All right, Genna, can you please remind us of what are some things that were given to Jimmy on his way out of jail?
I know the question that is, what do we know about his appearance?
Okay, I'll ask you that one. But can someone remind us what are some things that he took on his way out of jail, or that the jail gave him? What?
A railroad ticket, $5, a suit and shoes, and the warden gave him a cigar.
Perfect, Jawad. Okay, remember, did he smoke the warden's cigar? And we know that he didn't. Okay, why? Because he decided to smoke a cigar of a higher.
Yes, he wanted to
Ahmed?
smoke one that was of a higher grade fit for him.
Good. Hmm. So, what kind of personality does Jimmy have? We know that he's what? He's what? Say that again, ya Ahmed.
He is civilized and fancy.
Good. All right. We know that he likes to enjoy a sophisticated lifestyle or a fancy lifestyle. Okay. So here we see that he is that type of person. All right. This is what he does. He likes the expensive lifestyle or a fancy type of lifestyle. Okay. When he goes to the room and he takes the key from his friend like Dolan, what do we recognize on the floor? What did we see on the floor of the room? And what did it remind him of? What was on the floor and what did it remind him of? Mark, can you please tell us what was on the floor and what did it remind Jimmy of? Marwa?
Yes.
What does Jimmy Valentine find on the floor of his hotel room or the room? And who did it remind him of?
I don't know.
Okay, who can answer this question for me? How about Gaser?
Miss, what's the question? Miss, what is the question?
What did Jimmy Valentine find on the floor of his hotel room when he takes the key from Mike Dolan and goes back up to his room? What does he find on the floor and what does it remind him of? Okay, Warda, can you please answer that for us?
Jimmy finds a collar button from the detective's coat that was trying to arrest him, um, and it reminded him of Ben Price, who was the detective who arrested him.
Exactly. Okay. So he found a button, a collar button that was on the floor, and it reminded him of the altercation that took place between him and the detective before he was arrested, or it reminded him of that. Okay. So this is um, this is it. Okay. All right. So again, can you please tell us about his change? How did he change, and what did he change into?
He changed into an honest man.
We're talking about his appearance, his physical appearance. When he goes to the hotel, remember he didn't like the suit that the that the prison gave him. So when he went upstairs, he was dressed in a tasteful and well-fitting clothes and carried his dusted and clean suitcase in his hands. This is on page 231 on top of the page, okay? The first two lines.
Okay.
All right. So again, remember here to prove that he is a man of good taste, of expensive taste. Okay, he's very sophisticated in his choices. All right. So he went to change, and how did he change? He is dressed. That means he was not really happy about his choice of clothes that the prison have given him, nor was he happy uh, about the cigar that the warden has given him. All right. So now he changed in. So please remember that his appearance is now dressed in tasteful and well-fitting clothes. All right. What does that tell you about his character? That he is a person that enjoys a fancy lifestyle, and he enjoys to the fancy things in life, or he is very sophisticated. Once at the hotel, what can you infer? Infer means to take a guess, or what can we think about Jimmy's plans now that he's free? All right. What as soon as he left the prison, where did he stop? Where was his first stop? Where was his first stop when he left prison? What?
First,
He went to a restaurant eat some food. He
Good.
ate a broiled chicken and white wine.
Perfect. So his first stop was to eat. Of course, he misses, remember how we said the prison food and so on. This is where he first goes. Okay, he goes and he enjoys. He says here a broiled chicken, and he drinks his wine. Okay, the first sweet joys of liberty. Okay, this is how he describes them. The taste of the first sweet joys of liberty. So this is something that he has first. Okay, one second, guys. I answer his some. Yeah, حاضر. سلام. Okay, and then after this, he takes the railroad. He goes to his hotel room, and he picks up his suitcase. So what do we think about his plans? Ahmed, Sabr.
Jimmy at the hotel was planning to was still planning to steal.
Sorry, so did you say that he's planning on stealing again?
At the hotel.
Definitely. Okay, so when he leaves the hotel room and he goes out, we can definitely see clearly that he is determined um, to continue or to pick up his life of crime. Okay, what characteristics makes Jimmy a successful burglar? All right, what are some things that he does that makes him a successful burglar?
He had
All right, who could help?
he had the he had rare tools that were made of decent material, and
Good.
he was
All right. So the first thing that helps him is his
okay.
tools, right? He had one of the best tools, or some of the best tools in town, that make him make him very it makes his work easier or and unique. All right. And also we know that he works solo. He works by himself. He doesn't work with any uh, um, again, also as Ben Price has mentioned before, that we know him, that he's a successful dodger. All right, so here while working in Springfield, he does long jumps. He's known for his quick getaways and no Confederates. Okay. And a taste for good society. A taste for good society is basically what we said earlier, that he's fancy and sophisticated. All right. But here, what he does that makes him able to get away with or a good thief is that, of course, his tools, definitely having one of the best tools in town, or the best tools that a thief could ever have. They're upgraded and they're expensive, and some of them he actually made on his own. Okay. And also the fact that he works alone. All right, he doesn't work with any confederates, or he doesn't have any accomplices or associates in crime that makes him no one could really rat him out, or get him involved. All right, and he knows a lot of quick getaways, and he's known for his long jumps. So these are all listed on page 231 of things that make him a successful burglar. What is Ben Price's interest in Jimmy Valentine? Again, we know that Ben Price is bothered by the idea that he did not spend his full time, and that he thinks that it is unfair, and that he deserves to go back into jail and spend his incomplete sentence, and not receive any clemency, especially for continuing picking up his life of crime. Number 8, why is Ralph the phoenix that arose from Jimmy Valentine's ashes? This was mentioned here on page 233. And a phoenix is a bird that lived for 400, 500 years and then burned itself to death, only to rise from its own ashes to live another long life. This is here an allusion or a reference to this phoenix. So, how is Ralph Spencer the phoenix or a phoenix? In this sense, the phoenix here is Jimmy Valentine. He's the bird that burned itself. So, Jimmy Valentine burned or died, all right, burned itself, and then it burned itself to death, and then Ralph Spencer is the new identity that arose from Jimmy Valentine to continue on living as a clean man. So just please remember that the phoenix that arose from Jimmy Valentine's ashes, here this is an allusion or an example of a reference to the phoenix. And what does the phoenix do? The phoenix burns itself to death. It's on page 233. It's mentioned in the footnotes. Okay, the footnotes are the bottom of the page. All right, and here the phoenix is Jimmy Valentine because Jimmy Valentine has burned or killed his old identity, and Ralph D. Spencer arose from it to continue living a long life of being clean and honest living. Of course, Jimmy has shown that he's truly changed from the letter that he wrote Billy, and of course from falling in love with Annabelle, he's now decided to open up his new shop. All right, what has he not given up of his old days? He has not given up the suitcase yet. Okay, in the letter to his old pal, what concerns does Jimmy express? Again, his love for Annabelle, that his sincere change, and that he would never steal again because the honest life is the life for him, and that he wants, of course, to give him his tools for good. All right, again, when he is at the vault about to crack the safe to rescue the girl, he asks Annabelle for the flower. And here, again, this is because he knows that he's risking revealing his true identity and risking the possibility of Annabelle leaving him. So he wants something to hold on to for her memory. Why doesn't Ben Price arrest Jimmy Valentine? Because he knows that he's certain that he is a changed man. And the title and the meaning of the story, A Retrieved Reformation, here means that he has reformed himself or changed into a better man. And this, he lost it at the time he was cracking the safe to rescue the girl because he was about to lose his reformation because he's jeopardizing himself now to being known as a thief again or his identity being revealed. And then he retrieved it. He gained again his reformation when Ben Price was able to let him go. Okay, so this is how the title is. Okay, someone who reformed, but then he risked his reformation, or he risked being sent to jail again because he allowed himself to his real identity to be revealed, and then he was able to retrieve this reformation again once Ben Price granted him the ability to walk away as a free man. Okay, guys. So please, any questions about the study guide, feel free to message me or study these questions well. The vocab sheet is very important for revision. Go over your irony examples and know your types of irony and your 3 types of narration. Okay, this is the end of our session because it's 11:26. You guys are a little late to your next session. Adam, you have a question?
Yeah, in the writing assignment, there is something called double space. What is it?
I'm going to show you that. For the rough draft, which is your basically the rough draft, remember, is something that's not polished. This is your first mistakes. It's one with mistakes. Your rough draft is going to be due on Tuesday. I'm going to upload your weekly plan for next week. On Tuesday, when you guys bring them to me, next Thursday, when we meet on our online session, I'm going to teach you how to do the typing and the indentation and the double spacing. So give me a rough draft on Tuesday, And then on Thursday, we're going to learn how to type them together. Okay, so double space here is referring to something on the computer in Microsoft Word that I'm going to teach you next Thursday on our online session. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? All right, good luck with studying and retrieve Reformation, vocab, and literary devices. If you have any questions throughout the weekend, please put them on the group or message me privately. Okay? Thank you, guys. Take care.